Could the U.S. have been a global leader in solar energy, like way back in the 70s?
That's a great question.
The answer might just surprise you.
Yeah.
Our deep dive today takes us back to a pivotal moment, Jimmy Carter's decision to install solar panels on the White House roof in 1979.
It's a decision that so often is seen as just symbolic, but there's so much more to that story.
Exactly. So to really understand it, we have to rewind a bit first.
Yeah.
Picture the 1970s,
Right.
gas lines stretching for blocks,
Oh, yeah.
prices skyrocketing. The energy crisis had a grip on the nation.
Mhm.
And the 1973 oil embargo really exposed just how reliant we were on foreign oil. It was a wake-up call.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just about inconvenience at the pump either.
Right.
The entire economy was vulnerable.
Yeah, you're right. It forced America to confront this harsh reality.
Hmm.
Our energy security was fragile.
Yeah.
But out of this turmoil came a leader with a very different vision. Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Now, he wasn't your typical Washington insider.
Yeah.
This was a peanut farmer from Georgia. Someone who understood the land and the importance of self-sufficiency.
Right. And that background really shaped his approach to energy.
Yeah.
He wasn't just looking for these quick fixes.
Yeah.
He was thinking long term.
Absolutely. And he saw the energy crisis as this chance to rethink our entire energy system.
Yeah.
He believed in conservation, of course,
Of course.
but he also saw the potential of renewables,
Mm-hmm.
particularly solar power. But here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Congress wasn't exactly on board with this whole solar thing.
It was a tough sell.
Yeah.
You had really powerful interests that were tied to traditional energy sources.
Right.
And the technology itself was still relatively new.
Yeah, it was a different world.
Yeah.
Solar panels back then weren't these sleek, efficient panels that we see today.
Right.
They were thermal collectors,
Yeah.
primarily used for heating water,
Mm-hmm.
not exactly powering entire cities.
True, but they were a start.
Yeah.
And for Carter, they represented something much bigger. A vision of energy independence. A future where America wasn't beholden to foreign oil.
So he decides to make a statement.
Okay.
He installs these solar panels on the White House roof.
Right.
Not just a practical move to heat some water,
Yeah.
but this symbolic gesture to the nation and the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is the future, he was saying.
Yeah.
We can do this.
And it did capture people's attention. It
Yeah.
sparked debates,
For sure.
got folks thinking about energy in a new way.
It did.
Some saw it as a publicity stunt, sure,
Right.
but for others, it was a glimpse of a cleaner, more sustainable future.
It was a bold move, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it shows how deeply Carter believed in this vision.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just talking the talk.
Right.
He was walking the walk, even if it meant going up against really powerful interests.
Yeah.
But the question is, could he really shift the country's energy trajectory?
Yeah.
Could America have become a solar powerhouse decades earlier?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is, and to answer it, we need to dig into the technological landscape of the time.
Okay.
Because those early solar panels, while symbolic, were just the tip of the iceberg.
Right. Those White House solar panels, yeah, they were a powerful symbol. You're right. But the technology behind them, still in its infancy.
So paint us a picture. What was solar tech like back then?
Imagine this. Solar cells, the heart of solar panels, they were much less efficient.
Right.
The kind we're used to today, photovoltaic cells, they convert sunlight directly into electricity.
Right.
Back then, they were just starting to scratch the surface of what was possible. And the cost. Let's just say solar panels weren't exactly flying off the shelves.
So Carter's vision was more about potential than practicality at that point.
In some ways, yes, but here's the thing. Carter wasn't just installing those panels.
Yeah.
He was investing in the future of solar technology.
Okay.
His administration poured funding into research centers like MIT, Caltech, Stanford,
Wow.
places where brilliant minds were tackling these challenges of solar.
So it was a gamble on innovation, hoping those investments would lead to breakthroughs.
Exactly. Scientists were exploring new materials like thin film solar cells,
Okay.
experimenting with different manufacturing processes, trying to crack the code of making solar more efficient and affordable. But thin film back then, it faced limitations.
Yeah.
The materials were tricky and the efficiency just wasn't there yet.
Right.
And storage, that was another hurdle.
Yeah.
Even if you could generate solar power during the day, how do you store it for when the sun isn't shining?
It's like having a leaky bucket. You can pour in all the water you want, but if you can't keep it from draining out, what's the point?
A perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And back then, battery technology wasn't nearly as advanced as it is today.
Right.
So researchers were exploring all these different storage solutions, pumped hydro, compressed air, even thermal storage.
Interesting.
Some of those ideas were ahead of their time,
Yeah.
but they showed that Carter and his team were thinking holistically about the entire energy system.
So Carter saw this bigger picture. He knew that solar, to really take off, needed more than just panels on rooftops.
Yeah.
It needed a whole ecosystem of innovation, from the cells themselves to how we store and distribute the energy.
Precisely. And he understood that government had a role to play in fostering that innovation.
Yeah.
He didn't just throw money at research, he created the Department of Energy,
Right.
a centralized hub to coordinate and drive energy research and development.
Wow. But even with all that, Carter faced this steep uphill battle.
Yeah.
There were the economic realities, solar was still expensive, and traditional energy sources were deeply entrenched.
Right, and not to mention the political landscape.
Yeah, I imagine there was plenty of pushback from folks who saw solar as a threat to their interests.
Oh, absolutely. Powerful lobbies representing the fossil fuel industry weren't exactly thrilled about this upstart technology.
Yeah.
They had a lot to lose if solar took off.
Right.
And then there were the skeptics in Congress.
Yeah.
Those who questioned the government's role in promoting solar or believed it was just this pie-in-the-sky idea.
But Carter, he was determined.
Yeah.
He managed to push through some key legislation like the National Energy Act of 1978,
Okay.
which included tax credits for homeowners and businesses investing in renewable energy.
Right.
It was a way to incentivize the adoption of solar to make it more attractive financially.
And those tax credits did have an impact.
Yeah?
They helped to create a market for solar, encourage businesses to dip their toes into this new industry. But it wasn't just about throwing money at the problem.
Right.
Carter also recognized the importance of diplomacy.
Diplomacy. What role did that play in all of this?
Well, remember, the OPEC oil embargo had sent shockwaves through the global economy.
Yeah.
It exposed America's dependence on foreign oil, a dependence that could be used as leverage against us.
Right. So for Carter, embracing solar wasn't just about environmentalism.
Yeah.
It was a matter of national security.
Exactly. He saw solar energy as this way to strengthen America's position on the world stage, to reduce our reliance on oil-producing nations,
Right.
many of which weren't exactly our allies.
Yeah.
It was a bold vision to make America a leader in this new energy era to break free from the shackles of oil dependence.
But it wasn't just about America, was it? The world was watching.
Mm-hmm.
Carter's solar initiative sent a message. We're taking this seriously.
Right.
And that, in turn, helped to spur global interest in solar technology.
Absolutely. Other countries saw the potential both for energy independence and economic opportunity.
Yeah.
And as research and development progressed, as costs started to come down, the momentum began to build.
So Carter may not have single-handedly launched the solar revolution we see today,
Right.
but he played a pivotal role in setting the stage.
Yeah.
He planted the seeds, nurtured the early growth, even if the full bloom came later.
A perfect way to put it, but what if those seeds had been planted in more fertile ground? What if Carter had enjoyed more political support, more public buy-in?
Right.
Could America have become a solar superpower decades ago?
It's a fascinating question.
To answer that, we need to explore the other side of the equation.
Okay.
How the public perceived this whole solar thing.
It's crazy to think how much the world has changed since those early days of solar.
Yeah.
Back then, it was seen as this, fringe technology.
Right.
Something for, off-the-grid folks or diehard environmentalists.
Yeah.
Now, solar panels are practically everywhere you look.
It's quite a transformation, isn't it? It's a reminder that change doesn't always happen overnight.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a slow burn, a gradual shift in thinking and technology.
So how did we go from those clunky, expensive panels to the sleek, efficient solar that we see today?
Well, a lot of credit goes to those scientists and engineers that Carter invested in. Remember those early solar cells we talked about? Not exactly powerhouses,
Right.
but over the decades, researchers just kept at it.
Right.
They tinkered, experimented, tested new materials, refined manufacturing processes, all with the goal of making solar more efficient and affordable.
Sounds like a long and winding road.
It was, but they eventually cracked the code.
Yeah.
Solar cells became more efficient at converting sunlight into electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Manufacturing processes improved, driving down costs.
Right.
And new materials like those thin film cells we mentioned earlier started to show some real promise.
Yeah.
Remember how we said they faced limitations back then?
Right.
Well, those limitations were overcome through persistent research and development.
It's like that old saying,
It was that.
necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly. The energy crisis created this urgent need for alternatives.
Yeah.
And that spurred this wave of innovation in the solar industry.
And as the technology improved,
Yeah,
the cost of solar came down dramatically.
absolutely.
Solar panels became more accessible to uh, everyday people,
Right.
not just governments and big corporations.
It's like any new technology, right?
Yeah.
Think about computers.
Oh, yeah.
They used to be these massive, expensive machines that only universities and governments could afford now. We carry more computing power in our pockets than those early computers had in entire rooms.
Incredible.
A perfect analogy. And just like with computers, that price drop made solar a real game changer.
It did.
Suddenly, it wasn't just about saving the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It was about saving money on your energy bill,
Right.
becoming more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
But technology alone wasn't enough.
Right.
Remember those tax credits that Carter put in place?
Yeah,
They played a crucial role, too.
they did.
They helped to create a market for solar, gave businesses a reason to actually invest in it.
Yeah, it shows how government policies can make a real difference in pushing new technologies forward.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just the federal government.
Right.
A lot of states and cities jumped on the solar bandwagon, offering their own incentives and setting these ambitious renewable energy goals.
Yeah, but there was another force at play, one that Carter had anticipated.
What's that?
Growing public awareness.
Right.
As the evidence of climate change mounted,
Yeah.
people started to realize that our reliance on fossil fuels was a dead end.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
The urgency to find cleaner energy solutions grew,
Right.
and solar emerged as this viable, even desirable alternative.
It did.
It was clean, renewable, and increasingly affordable.
And people wanted it.
Yeah. Suddenly, Carter's early vision of a solar-powered future didn't seem so far-fetched.
Yeah. It's amazing how quickly things can change when the stars align, so to speak.
Right.
Technology advances, costs come down, public opinion shifts,
Totally.
and boom, solar energy goes from this fringe idea to mainstream solution.
It's a testament to the power of innovation,
Yeah,
policy, and collective action.
absolutely.
And while Carter may not have lived to see the full realization of his solar dream, his legacy lived on in those rooftops shimmering with solar panels.
It does, and those White House panels may be long gone, but they served as a powerful symbol, a beacon that helped guide us towards a brighter, more sustainable future.
I did, for sure.
And it leaves us with this thought-provoking question.
What's that?
What bold steps can we take today, individually and collectively,
Yeah.
to build on Carter's legacy and accelerate the transition to a truly sustainable energy future? What lessons can we learn from his approach? His willingness to challenge the status quo and embrace those new possibilities, even when they seemed improbable. It's a question worth pondering as we navigate the complex energy challenges of the 21st century.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into Jimmy Carter's solar legacy. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a brighter future.